What is up, everyone? JD here. I hope you're all doing well today. Today I'm really excited to bring you my full review of the Vero Engineering Impulse. This is Gen 3 variant that was just released, and let's go ahead and jump into this knife here today. First up, we're going to go over the specs, size comparisons, and then we'll jump into my thoughts and impressions and any alternative recommendations if I have them. So the Vero Impulse has a 3.65 inch M390 blade, 4.95 inch titanium frame lock handle. Overall length is 8.65 inches and coming in at a claimed weight of 5.7 ounces. Let's go ahead and grab the scale and check that now to see if it is coming in at 5.7. All right, scale zeroed out. Coming in exactly at 5.7. So right on the money. Love to see it. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons to give you an idea the size of this particular knife. Here is the AD 20.5. This one here, great size reference. This is a very popular knife, and you can see the Vero Impulse is definitely a full-sized knife. So let's bring out a full-size knife to see what that looks like. Here is the Spyderco Shaman, another well-known knife, and you can see the Impulse just a little bit bigger. Great size references here. You can see you have more handle and you have just a little bit more from the pivot out to the tip, just a little bit more. I mean, just a hair. I know it's probably hard to tell on camera, but that Impulse does have just a little bit more. So let's go ahead and move these two out of the way, and we'll bring out a couple other size comparisons for you. First, we'll bring out the Benchmade Bug Out, another very popular knife at the pivot there, so you can really see just how much larger the Impulse is. And we'll bring out the SIG K320 by Hogue, which is a little bit smaller than the Shaman, and you can really see it here. You have a 3.5 inch blade versus that 3.65 inch on the Vero Impulse. Let's go ahead and get these crossbar lock knives out of the way, and we'll do our last two size comparison knives, and then we'll do the thickness profile. And this one is going to be a set of budget knives, so if you own either one of these, you will recognize them and how this lines up size wise. So there's your Vosteed Raccoon, and then here is your Buck 110, great little American made beater knife, and you can see the Buck 110 is just as long. So hopefully that has helped you there. Let's go ahead and do some quick thickness profile so you can get an idea or a sense how this might actually ride in pocket and feel in hand. And actually, I'm going to swap these two out so I can move a little bit more quickly. So there you go. Going to try to line them up in the camera there. I use my hands in the background so that it focuses. You can see that the Impulse just a little bit thicker. It is chamfered down, so that might fool some of you, but it is a little bit thicker versus the flat scales there on the Raccoon. We'll go ahead and bring out the Shaman next, because that's a more full-size knife. And then you can see there that well, let me move these out of the way. Maybe that'll help. They're about the same thickness. Yeah, they're about the same. And then we'll bring out the SIG K320 by Hogue, and that one there is going to be a little bit thicker overall at the head, but at the tail of the knife you can see just a little bit thinner, and that's because it has that V-shaped handle to it, which I really love. It makes it feel really nice and comfortable in the hand. All right, let's go ahead and jump into the Impulse. We're going to start with the ergos on this. It's a nice, thick, chunky knife. I love the titanium frame lock. It has a beautiful finish to it. It looks really, really good in person, and it feels really nice in hand. Really, for a larger size hand such as myself, plenty of space. You can move back on the tail end, no issues whatsoever. Plenty of space when you put the two fingers in the scalp, move up, which to me is the best position. I love this position here. Just lots of space. It has good weight balance too. I feel like when you actually get right here where your two fingers hit, that's where it's the most balanced. If you go too far forward, it's going to fall forward, and then as you start to come back, it's going to fall into the hand, as you can see there. But that weight, being that it's right where you want to put the hand like that, it feels really comfortable in hand. You do feel the edges of the pocket clip here a little bit, but I don't know if for the Gen 3 they did anything to change this. It looks like they've kind of come down on the tip a little bit. But I would say chamfer it down a little bit more here for Gen 4, and then I think that pocket clip will be just fine. I would have preferred just a straight milled instead of this ramp down. I would have preferred it just to come out like most of the knives do, but I liked a little bit of styling. That's pretty cool. A relief cut does not interfere with it going in and out of the pocket. It doesn't catch coming out, at least it hasn't for me. And then there's a little bit extra relief here so that when it's going in fully, you actually have plenty of space there for your jeans. Chamfer down around for the lock bar. It locks up at about 30 to almost 40%. So you got good lockup and good access to the lock bar. No matter how you're disengaging this, you're going to be able to get to that easily to do whatever it is that you do when you disengage the bar. Now, means of deployment, you have a nice flipper tab here. Has a little bit of jimping on the top so that you can grab a hold of that and launch that really easily. Or you have this fuller for right-handed reverse flicking, which works as well. If you're left-handed, you can still take advantage of this knife, but it's just going to be a flipper only, and it works really well, and you can, again, very easily access that lock bar, no issues whatsoever. I think I've even had my thumb on it a little bit. As long as I'm not squeezing and putting a lot of pressure, I think I can, yeah, still launch it, but it is a very, very heavy detent. I also like the fact that it's very low profile, so it's a very clean design. You don't have any flipper tabs sticking up. You don't have any thumb studs sticking up here. You have that fuller for that access. I can't launch it left-handed with the thumb. I've tried. I just can't quite get down in there. I've tried to come down, but then I have to get over top of the pocket clip to get there, so it doesn't quite work that well. Has ceramic caged bearings in the pivot. I am going to be installing rocket glides in this one as well, but I really do like this knife a lot. Great blade shape. It has a beautiful stonewash finish to it, so I'm going to try to catch the light the best that I can, and hopefully you're seeing that. I did polish out the edge a little bit. It did come a little wonky. The edge was not grabbing or biting very well, so I did grab my KME. I laid it back to about 18 degrees per side, maybe 19, can't quite remember, but I laid it back a little bit, and she slices now. She slices really well now. And then the tip I did by hand on the stone because it is a more robust tip, and I didn't really want to do it with the KME. The KME kind of lays funny on the Tonto, so I did do that by hand with the field sharpener from Work Sharp, and it does a good job as far as puncturing into stuff anyway, but I only use this part of the tip for utilities and draw cuts. You can get really close to the edge there. Nice plunge grind, so you're not going to come into anything or create a smile while you're sharpening, as long as you're being smart and careful. Nice strong tip, very good geometry, tall flat grind. Not much else I can say about that. The blade's edge is just really, really nice. Now, having said that, this is a very expensive knife, so alternative recommendations that I'm going to make for you, if you like that thin profile without the flipper tab, I'm actually going to go recommend the Tao from Kungwu. This is under $200, titanium M390. You even get a Damascus pivot collar in there, matching backspacer, not a very good pocket clip at all, and it is thinner, a little bit smaller, and I'll put that down here so you can see, a little bit smaller. And that pocket clip is going to mess with me being able to show that to you, so we'll do it like that, and a little bit thinner overall as well. So and the access to the lock bar, not as good as the Vero Engineering. It's good, but not as good. But a bonus here is you do get the front flipper, since you don't get the side fuller for the launch. So you still get the two means of the deployment for right-handed folks. But the nice thing here, if you're left-handed, is you can still take advantage of the two different means of deployment left-handed. So a little bit of an advantage there. You get the peel ply texturing here as well on the knife, and then you get that nice milling right there around the edge of the knife, and again you get a little bit of a pop of color with the Damascus pivot collar. So that's a nice alternative recommendation. If you wanted an alternative USA made blade, if you're on a budget, it's not going to be the same experience, but if you're on a budget and you want a frame lock around the size, I am going to say that you could look at the Case Marilla. Now, it is a more robust geometry than the Vero Impulse, but you do get magnet cut because this is a Smoky Mountain Knife Works exclusive, and it does have a Fat Carbon Nebula inlay, so a little bit of a different type of knife, but it is a USA made. It is a full-size knife. It does take a nice edge. The heat treat I had this one tested came in at 60.9 or 60.8. I think it was 60.9 though. Reversible deep carry pocket clip, and it is a USA made knife. It does have steel bearings in the pivot, and it has a steel bearing on the frame lock insert, so that's a little bit different than your ceramic bearings, but pretty good action. And again, for an American made folder, it's not that bad. Pocket clip could be better. I wish the screws were different. I wish the pocket clip was a little bit different, but I do like this knife. It does have a beautiful stonewash finish on it, and I did have to send this off for lock stick 2 case, and they had it back inside of 2 weeks, no issues whatsoever. And I did have a little bit of a hot spot around the inlay, and they took care of that as well when I sent it in. If you don't care about the country of origin, if you want an alternative recommendation for this, I would actually say that you could probably pick up either a Mordax, which is going to be around $250, I think, or if you don't have restrictions, you could pick up a TR3, which you can find different variants in it that are going to get you kind of close to that size. But again, this is not going to be more fidget factor. This is definitely, you just want to get the knife out, you want to use it, and then you want to put it away. It is a good looking knife. I do like the fish scales, and I do like the stonewash finish that ProTech puts on their knives. It's very beautiful. And same thing can be said here. If you do have restrictions, you could get the ProTech Mordax. Definitely wonderful alternative recommendation. And that's really it. I like the knife. For me, easy to make this recommendation. It's a great size, great weight. Bestech has done a great job bringing Vero Engineering's design to fruition, and I think they've done a really good job with all of the details on this particular knife. It is a very well made knife, very beautiful, and I think it just looks good overall. Very clean, simple design, and I think they do have different variants. I don't know. I think I'm recording this, I think the weekend before they're going to drop the overstock in there, but I did notice that Blade HQ has the mini Synapse in stock, so I'm wondering if, like Sharp by Design, they are actually starting to push some out to production. But those are very limited numbers, so you'd have to be quick to grab those up. It's not going to be like instantaneous stock and they're going to be gone. They're usually there for a little while, but you don't want to delay too much. If you enjoyed today's video, do me a favor, leave a like. It does help me with the channel. If you're enjoying the content, consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed, and don't forget to turn that notification bell to all so you don't miss future videos when they come out. Thanks to everyone out there that regularly leaves the likes and comments. I appreciate the support from everyone out there. I love you guys. I hope you all have a fantastic week. Until next time, peace.